Hey, real quick, if you want to hear us discuss this same topic in a shorter video, there's a link in the description below. If you're here for the long form conversation, we're going to get into that right now. What's up, breathing people? Welcome back. Today, I'm joined by my wife, Brittany, and we're talking about something that we have very little knowledge of, and that is how to know if a guy is into you. So, last podcast, we talked about how to, what was it about?
Ask a girl out.
Right, that's right. How to ask a girl out. This time, we're going a little more from the girl's perspective
Yeah.
on how to know if he's into you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that good with this. And we
But
were
you're
talking,
a guy.
but I am a guy, I think.
You
So
are.
we were talking beforehand that this was an area that you struggled in. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. So hang in with us. We will get somewhere over the course of this conversation.
Yeah.
We always do. Things come out as we talk about them. I think a good place to start would be, where are you in the vicinity of guys that would be interested in you?
Mm.
Because a lot of times you might not be able to know if a guy's into you if you're not aware of your surroundings.
That's true.
And I think a lot of people can go through life and they're just not aware of who's around them, because life can be so hard. Life can be so, I don't know, suffocating, that you're, as a way to cope with it, you're so focused on yourself.
Right.
Like, you're so focused on where I'm at in present day, present circumstance, present situation. And you're just kind of oblivious to those around you.
And that's probably where this question might come from. Because I feel like if you're asking this question, you are kind of in your own head and space, and and you might be into that person. Like, so the girl is into a guy and she wants to know, like, she's like assessing every little thing that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does. Like, does he like me? Is he into me? Because you're so into him that you're like, oh, I just want to know, like, is that a sign?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Um, I feel like that's probably a bad place to start, because usually if a guy's into you, it seems like you would know, right? Wouldn't they, from my experience, a guy will treat you differently than all of the other girls. So you do, like you're saying, you do have to be aware of who's around you and what's happening around you.
Right.
So
To be aware of those differences.
So you have to be aware
Yeah.
of that first. And then if you are, then you kind of have to see, like, does he treat you differently than all of the other girls?
Right.
But yeah, if you don't have that and you're just kind of like nitpicking everything that he does, like, does he like me? You're probably not going to figure it out.
Mm-mm. No. And I think too, so you want to be aware of your surroundings for that purpose, to kind of be able to see the differences in how that guy is treating others around him, to know if it's any different with you. Um, what's like another, I'm trying to think though, like, to take that one step further.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you become aware of your surroundings. You become aware of the people that are around you, and you become focused on the guy that is into you.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then? Like, what do you need to do then to kind of really investigate that answer?
Yeah. From my experience, it seems like it's probably better if you don't have a crush on the guy first, because I think it's going to be harder to think straight.
Right.
But if you don't, which this might not answer people's questions because they're probably into the person they're wanting to know. But if you're not, you'll see them treat you differently. They'll want to hang out with you. They'll show interest in you when they're not doing that to every other girl. They might ask you to hang out. They might like talk to you more. are honestly, they want to know about you.
Mhm.
And for me, that would be a sign that somebody's into you.
Right.
Um, so
Because that is a big step in the direction of, is this guy into me? Does he want to know more about me?
yes.
Is he investigating? Because we could, I guess, think that away and just be like, yeah, he's like that with everybody. No,
Mm-mm.
guys are not like that with everybody.
No.
We don't care to know more about you if we don't care
That's true.
about you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm like,
and that
that's so
sounds
true.
horrible. I think girls naturally tend to want to kind of investigate each other's lives. What are you wearing? What's your
Yeah.
perfume? What kind of makeup do you use? Like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know. That was a little weird. But like, I'm guessing that's how you guys interact.
Girls are more relational.
Yeah. Guys are not.
Mm-hmm.
So if a guy is acting like that, you might just be like, well, that's normal.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
They want to know more about you for the reason that you're probably thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Unless they're like a lover boy and they are like that with everyone. Then they're not somebody you want to be into.
right.
Run away.
Right. And I think that's another aspect of this is, okay, so if a person's trying to gain knowledge of you,
Mhm.
they're into you.
Yeah.
Now, what was your relationship prior
Yeah.
to you figuring this out? That
Mm-hmm.
he's desiring to grow in knowledge of you and get to know you more. He's into you.
Yeah.
Was it in a place where he met you at a bar and he wants to know more about you?
Yeah.
Because that is a different investigation that he's pursuing than someone that you've already known for a bit and they just want that deeper connection.
How is that
Both-
different?
Because both might be into you, but they're starting from a different place. And when you're starting from a place of zero knowledge to gain knowledge,
That means they're
You
into
have no-
you. Like they want to maybe.
I think both are into you, but you have no base yourself
Mm,
in that investigation.
right. Right.
Does that make any sense? Like, you don't have any prior
For yourself.
knowledge,
Like if
prior commitment, prior understanding of the other person who's investigating you to get to know you more because they're into you.
yeah.
I think that really is it. If they're wanting to get to know you more as a guy, you're into that girl.
Yeah.
Like, I can promise the girls, if a guy wants to get to know you more,
Yeah.
they're into you.
Yeah. I think that that's good.
I think that's cut and dry. Now, intentions is what you're saying with the lover boy
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Like, I would be more worried about those non relation what's the word I'm looking for, where you didn't have any prior knowledge
Oh.
of that person and they're into you.
That's true. That'd be a little scary because you don't actually know.
You don't have a baseline to know, like, oh, okay, all right, like, we were friends before, but I can see that he's into
Right.
me, and I can, because he's investigating and wanting more
Right.
knowledge about me.
Whereas
Cool.
if it's someone you meet at the bar and
But if
they're
it's someone
into you,
brand
you don't
new-
know if they just did that with somebody else like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And then what happened with that relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, like, there is a difference there.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure that there's a clear line between somebody you know that wants to know you more and someone you don't know that wants to know you more. I'm not saying that both aren't real,
Right.
that person truly saw you and is just like, my future wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happens.
That does happen.
That happens. And people, have crazy stories
Yeah.
about how they fell in love and got married and yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. Cool.
That's the
But
rare
that's all.
case.
But that's also where you're going to find the bad ones too.
Mm,
So I think just raising your awareness to that
yes.
could be helpful.
Yeah. So I have a couple questions for you. So when it comes to knowing if a guy's into you, I have like a couple things that I would say this will tell you that. The one is what we were just talking about. They're interested in knowing about you, right?
Yeah.
They're investigating who you are and you're aware of that. Okay, so that's number 1. They actually ask you to go do something with them. Whether they ask you to go eat or they go on a hike or to go on a walk or whatever it is, whether it's in a group or especially if it's just like you and that person, they're definitely into you. And then if they continue to do that, those are like my 3 things. So they want to know about who you are, they ask you to do something with them, and then they continue doing those things.
Right.
They're into you because that means first they're into you. They want to know about you.
Yeah.
If they like what they find, they want to do something with you. If they still like you after that, they want to know you more.
Mhm.
And they might ask you to go do more things. So like if you have those 3 things, a guy is into you.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? And would you add anything or subtract anything?
No, I think that's a pretty fair assessment of how to know
Yeah.
if a guy's into you. Um, yeah. I can't really see any other way other than superficial things to kind of add to that sort of heart of knowing if a guy's into you. Because that's
Right.
all you're trying to assess. You're trying to assess if this should go anywhere or not. If I should kind of move in his direction
Yeah.
and initiate that little bit of
Let him know that
I'm
you
here.
Yeah.
I see that you wanting to know me more. Cool.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is just extra add-on to the question then. If a girl notices that a guy's into her and she's into him also, what should be her next move? Or does she just wait it out for the guy to do
No,
something?
that's a terrible move.
Okay.
That's
We
a
don't
terrible
know.
move.
Tell us what we should do.
You should go to the guy because he's shaking in his boots.
Okay.
He has no idea what he's doing, even if he's experienced in asking girls out, because this one's different.
Because he cares.
Every girl is different.
Yeah.
You need to go and you need to say, hey, I think you're into me.
Really? She should be that bold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know how much pressure you would release the guy from
Yeah.
if you made that move?
Wow.
I'm not saying you ask him out. I know it's
No.
2023 and
Yeah.
everybody's like, I asked my boyfriend out. Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. But
That'd be a no-no in my book.
yeah, like, I'm sure that relationship's going to go perfectly. But yeah, it would be so helpful to a guy
Yeah.
if you just made that simple statement. And if he's like, I'm not, that's on him.
Yes.
If he wasn't ready for that, like when you did, like if a girl
What
came
does
up,
that tell us about the guy?
what does that tell? What?
Yeah. Tell me. If he's okay, so if he says no,
Move
then
on.
just move on because he wasn't brave enough to say yes if he's lying.
Right.
Or he actually wasn't. So then move on still.
I would just
Right?
move on.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like if you
So it's not weird. It wouldn't be weird for a girl to do that. Because
No.
that seems so weird to me.
No, it would have been so helpful if you did that to me.
Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. I know.
That's funny. That's a story we should share sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. But it would be very helpful to come up to a girl or come up to a guy as a girl
Mhm.
and say, I think you're into me.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yes.
You know, and their reaction will either be, I'm not. And you
Right.
were reading it wrong.
Right.
Move on.
Right.
Um,
And that's not weird either. Like the guy wouldn't think that that's weird either. Right?
no.
No.
I mean, some guys might think that's weird, but they, I don't know, are weird.
Okay.
No, I
So
just
like,
think
because
they're
guys
weird
are
because
so
like
much
that
more
would
like
be
direct. Like for some reason, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like girls are more. That's just weird to them. I don't know why. We're
I don't
not
know-
as
yeah, I don't
direct.
know why
We're
that
not
would
as
be
direct
weird
as
at all.
guys, but that's really great to know. And I think that that's going to help people.
Yeah, I don't know why that's weird at all.
That's great.
I think that would be super helpful to a guy.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
You got to be aware of your surroundings.
aware of your surroundings. If the guy is treating you differently and investigating you, wants to know about you,
He's into you.
he's into you. If he asks you out on any kind of outing in a group or individual, especially if it's just the two of you, he's into you. And if he continues to do that, he's still into you.
Yeah. And of course, there's always a little bit of nuance to he asks you to go out and do something, especially if it's in a group. Like
Maybe not.
maybe you're a cool person.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Maybe, he thinks you'll be a great addition to his group that already includes other girls.
That's a good point.
So don't if he's already trying to gain knowledge of you and you can already glean that there is something different
Mm-hmm.
from you being in the circles that he's already in and he's treating you differently and
Differently.
trying to gain knowledge, yes, he's into you. But if that hasn't been established yet, and then he's going straight to, hey, would you want to go out and do something?
Then it might not mean that.
Don't get to the assumption that he is into you just because of that.
Gotcha.
He skipped a step.
Gotcha.
He should
An
be
important
treating
step.
right. He should be treating you differently and trying to gain knowledge about you
Yes.
first.
Okay, that makes sense.
Whatever the do something is afterwards.
Right. That first step is really important.
Yeah. Then afterwards, if that's in place, he's gaining knowledge of you, he's treating you differently than others in his friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Now when he says, do you want to go do something, you can have that expectation
Right.
that this is pursuing those other things to getting to maybe a relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's how I would view those steps personally.
I think that does make sense because I've seen that where
Yeah.
guys are just nice. They're cool people themselves,
Cool people.
and they,
I had a ton of girls in college that I just hung out with.
yeah,
And there was other guys in that group. There
Mhm.
was other it was multiple girls, multiple guys.
right.
It was just a
It's
hang.
just a hangout. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't treat any one of those girls differently
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I wasn't into them. And they
Right.
didn't treat me any differently because they weren't into me.
Yeah,
So I think that's like that's the line. Now we gained knowledge, but it was of each other
right.
in that group setting.
It wasn't different.
Right. It needs to be different. It
different.
needs to
Mhm.
be targeted where that person's like, hey, let's go sit over here and talk.
Yeah.
That can be a little weird. But like, I'm trying to think
Make
of
sure you're surrounded by people, please. Safety first.
yeah, safety first. I'm trying to think of ways though that it could be in the group, but that it just seems like he keeps asking you questions.
Yeah.
And the focus is on you. And the
Right.
focus is on gaining knowledge of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he turns to that other girl, he's not.
Yes.
You can take note of that.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think the bold statement of, hey, I think you're into me. A guy would either, yes, be terrified of that statement or incredibly freed
Yeah.
by that statement.
Yeah.
Because then they can be like, you know what? I am really into you. I just didn't know how to maybe approach that conversation. I'm
Right.
so glad that you did. Would you want to go out with me? Like the bravery that would come up in them because they're freed of the
It's like no longer hidden.
knowledge or lack thereof of, is she into me?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can be into a girl, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she needs to be into me for that
Yes.
ask to work.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, you freeing them of that is like shackles off. I can now just be free to be like, hey, want to do something? Can we have like a conversation about
Right.
this? Can we go do this? Can we be together in that? Like,
yeah.
and it doesn't even have to be full on, want to be my girlfriend?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that at
Yeah.
first. Like the freedom to say, I think we're into each other allows for just the forward
Openness.
momentum of something.
Yeah.
Whatever that develops into, that's up to that relationship
That's
to
so
decide.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like I learned something very new today.
That would have been so helpful in life, you know?
Well, it's funny because when we started talking about this, I was like, I don't think I know, like, what do I know about this? But now as we've talked about it, I actually know a lot about this
Yeah.
because looking back, I can discern that guy was into me, that guy was into me, that guy was into
Mhm.
me. At the time, though, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
very
And some of
ignorant.
this is
I was very
experience, unless somebody like us says something.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh, that's what that is.
Because I thought it was normal. I mean, I was so stupid. I thought it was so normal. Like, guy's just being friendly. Like, he wants to hang out.
Yeah.
No. He like wanted to know about me.
Mhm.
He was asking me out on just me and him.
Yeah. That doesn't
That
happen.
doesn't happen on just
No.
like
I had lots of friends that were girls in college and high school, and I never asked them out
on
to
like
do something.
yeah, just them.
Just them.
Yeah, unless you
Never.
were into them.
No.
Yeah.
Like there would be cases where maybe it would just be us
Right.
for whatever reason,
But not because you planned it
but
that
it
way.
was there was no plan involved
Yeah.
in that. And it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, yeah, come in my car, I'll take you to
right.
the group,
right.
you know, or I'll take you to the school, or I'll take you to whatever.
Yes.
But there was never like a, hey, would you
Yes.
by
Okay.
yourself want to get in my car and we will
That's so
go
creepy.
here?
Stop. Don't do that again.
But that's what I'm saying. Unless I was super into that girl,
Yeah.
that wasn't happening.
Right.
you
And
know?
okay, so that helped me think of some examples because I'm a practical person and I want to give examples. So I have one example of when I thought somebody was into me and they weren't into me from your example. So like this one guy before I could drive, or maybe I just didn't have a car yet, but like he would help take me places sometimes because there was no one else like to take me, or I
Yeah.
would have had to wait for my parents to come and get me. But it was like to a group thing. We
Right.
were all in the same group and I just needed a car ride there and he had the car to do it.
Yeah.
And so he never like tried to get to know me. He
Right.
never asked me out, just me and him. It was just that. And I
Right.
remember always being like, I wonder if he likes me. But now looking back years later, I'm like, he did not like me at all. He
Probably
was just
not.
like
Yeah.
not being like a selfish person.
Right.
He was just like,
There
I'll
are
help.
just nice people.
Yeah, he was
Right.
just giving me a ride.
Mhm.
Okay. And so he didn't like me. But then I think of like another situation where somebody was like wanting to get to know me more. And then they asked me out on a hike. That guy was into me. He wasn't into me after the hike. Didn't want to get to know me anymore.
Right,
So like
right.
he was, and then it stopped.
Right.
You know, and then I think of like other examples where it continued to happen.
Mhm.
And so those people were into me.
Yeah. That consistency in desire to get knowledge
Yes.
of you is the flares,
Mhm.
the blinking signs saying
Yes.
into you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's,
sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know more now. Thank you.
No, I mean, I feel like this was actually kind of a simple one.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
I don't
Yeah.
really think there's like too much else to talk to. I mean, we have a whole video and podcast on red flags
Yes.
to look out for.
Yes.
And that'll help you in any relationship potential or one you're in right now. But for the sake of answering this question, how to know if a guy is into you? If he wants to know you more.
Yeah.
And he is picking you out from the crowd, and there is a targeted I would say targeted, like the focus is specific to you and it's consistent,
Mm-hmm.
like repetitive. That's the word I'm
Repetitive.
looking for.
Yeah.
Is like if it's a thing that, yesterday he wanted to know me, he wanted to know about this aspect of my life.
Yeah.
And it was not like super deep or super,
Right.
intimate. But today he wants to know about this aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Patterns, noticing patterns. That means he's into you.
Yeah.
And that's the first step to then initiate more. Or if you're not comfortable, like, because a girl might not be comfortable with going up to a guy and be like, I think you're into me.
Yeah. A
A
lot
lot
of
of girls
aren't.
might not be good with that. But at least now you have the pattern established. So you know when he says, would you like to walk with me, to this coffee shop
Yeah.
on, like, if you're in college, like on campus,
Right.
nothing crazy about that. But the pattern has already been established. So you can now look at that coffee shop walk as possibly more
Yeah.
than just
A
going to get
hangout
a cup of
walk.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that might be able to inform the way that you talk with that person. Like if you're
Yeah.
into them too, reveal yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Be a little more open and allow him to gain that
Help him out.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other way, like outside of being direct.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you're just reinforcing to him that like his advances aren't futile.
Yes.
Like he can keep doing that and you'll keep giving.
Yes.
And you'll keep giving and you'll keep and now he's recognizing a pattern.
Yeah.
That the more that I try to get to know this girl, she's allowing me to do so.
Right.
And now I feel more comfortable saying, do you want to go out to dinner?
Because he's
Do
testing
you
the
wanna-
waters.
Yeah.
He wants to know, like, will you totally straight out reject him
Right.
if he asks you out
Some
to
guys
dinner?
dive into the water, and those guys are few and far between.
Yeah.
Most guys are sticking their toe in.
Yeah.
And they're just feeling, is this frigid or is this lukewarm? Or is this a hot tub?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's constant assessment. I mean, that's what humans do in general, but especially when a guy is into you, they are hyper aware of how they're navigating. Every word that they say to you
Mm-hmm.
is they have thought about a lot. Like,
yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, guys get this bad rap by girls that they're just like this mindless, sex addicts.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're really into you, one, most likely they're terrified of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most girls don't understand that. Like, guys are terrified to talk to you.
Is it because of the rejection that they're afraid of? Why are they afraid to talk to you?
Because you're so beautiful and you're so like, you are a magical being to them.
That's awesome.
Like you are this thing that could possibly be that movie-esque, light coming out of the tunnel moment
Yeah.
for them.
Yes.
I don't know.
No, I think that explains it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're just something so unattainable that they just want to be so careful. It's like an archaeologist coming to
Yeah.
a dig, and they know there's something so valuable and so precious
Oh, yeah.
buried in the dirt of their lack of knowledge of you, because they have to scrape a little away and they have to dust it off very carefully so
Yeah.
they don't chip anything, because they don't want to ruin what they
Yeah.
have in front of them.
Yeah.
So they're very cautious, they're very careful, and they will work for a long time
Yeah.
at someone until they start to see the results and they start to see that
Yes.
turning into something real.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think that if you're watching this video and this is helpful for you, that you also need to watch the red flags one.
Yeah.
Because as you're speaking, I'm like, that is what every girl wants and desires,
Right.
but just make sure the person isn't like grooming you. But
Yes.
that's where my mind goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
You do need to
beautiful.
be aware of that stuff, but I think going back to just touch on the red flags just for a minute, like you've talked about in the past, people that have had trauma, that have had things done to them, have some sort of and people that have trauma talk about this. There's some sort of a target on their back for guys to
They're more vulnerable. They're
pick them
yeah.
to, to be a red flag relationship,
Mhm.
just to put it like that. You have to be aware of yourself
Mhm.
and be aware of, your past and everything like that for the purpose of understanding your future.
Right.
But if you don't have that, or if you are very aware of yourself and have really moved past a lot of that stuff, so you don't really like carry it on you in a
Mhm.
way that,
Someone might be able to pinpoint.
yeah, be open.
Yes.
As open as you can. It's so easy to close something up quickly if you need to.
Yes.
And just be like, yeah, this is not gonna work out. Ghost.
Right.
Ghost them.
Yeah.
Never
yeah.
talk to them again. Leave them out of your life. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's lots of guys out there.
Yeah.
But it would make the guy's life so much easier if
Yes.
you just were like, I'm kind of into him too. And you just open yourself up.
Yeah.
That would just be so much.
Open yourself up, meaning you let them know that you're into them too, is what you're saying.
Let them know, yeah, like we discussed, either directly or indirectly through your
Yeah.
just giving of knowledge of yourself.
Right. And
So-
not saying no to their attempts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're attempting to get to know you, feed into that.
Yeah.
Give them what they're trying to get so that they keep coming back.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that could happen is that person better. And maybe you move on and you both realize like, yeah, this relationship wouldn't work.
Right.
But now I know a lot about you. That was fun.
Yeah. And now you're better at relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll know how to navigate that next one better too.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. So let's just quick go through the different things again.
Okay.
One more time. Awareness. Know who's around you.
Yes.
Make sure that you are not insular. Make sure that you are not so focused on yourself that you can't notice
Yes.
who's into you.
Yes.
Then once you have awareness, you're going to look for guys to kind of separate you from others that you're around
Yes.
and specifically try and get to know
Right.
you.
So they treat you differently and they are trying to get to know you.
Right. They're asking probing questions.
Yes.
That's usually what's associated with someone trying to get to know you.
Yes.
And then after that, once you've established that, you know that they're into you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can be aware when they say, hey, do you want to do something?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want to do something. And you know what it means.
Yes.
And then after that, hopefully after the do something, it goes back to
And continues.
get to know
Yeah.
and then do something and then
Yeah.
get to know and then do so. And now you're in a relationship.
Yes.
That's how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do in marriage.
Right. Right.
We get to know and we do stuff. And we get to know and we do stuff.
That's funny.
I mean, that is a relationship in the most basic sense.
Yeah. It's true.
So
Okay.
I think it's pretty good.
I like that. I think like the bonus tip that I like the most is that if you realize they're into you, it's okay to just be like, are you into me?
Right.
That's my favorite part.
Right.
I love that. That's going to be so helpful.
If you can work up the guts to go out there and say to a guy, I think you're into me, you will win.
Yeah.
That is honestly the hottest thing that I could think of.
That's so cool.
Like if a
I would have
girl
never, ever
did
guessed
that to
this.
me in high school or
Yeah.
college or something like that, I would be like, my jaw would be on the floor because I would be so excited,
Yeah.
know,
That's so funny.
because I didn't have to do all of that crazy
Yeah.
work to figure this
Yeah.
out before, and waste
Right.
months of my life
Yeah.
thinking in
Touching
bed.
the water,
Yeah.
testing the
Ugh.
water.
It would be amazing. But Anyways, so we didn't really know what we were talking about at the beginning of this, but I think we got to a good place.
Oh, yeah.
So if you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing, rating on iTunes and Spotify and all those good places. We will see you on the next episode. We love you all. Goodbye.